monthly reoccurring meetings with some of these guys too. So again, I'm just going to be more thankful to have all you guys, all the support, and I love making these changes and bringing this brokerage to the top every year that we're moving forward.
I love it. All right, we ready to get started, guys?
No, hold on, I got one quick announcement.
Okay.
This crazy guy in the black shirt on my right, that's Pascal.
Woo!
Pascal is a videographer. I've been working with him for over 10 years. Today he's shooting B-roll because we're going to update our websites and a few other things at the brokerage. You guys do what you're going to do. But if you ever want videos or testimonials or any videography done, this guy is the go-to. He's phenomenal. I think your fee structure is amazing. I'm going to throw him on Element. I don't know what happened to us since COVID, but things changed, so we're back at it. I'm going to put Pascal on Element for you guys. So videography, that's your guy there. Is there anything I'm missing as far as like some of the
Yeah, I mean, anything you really need. Like, it's not just property, it's not just profiles, it's also follow-up type videos if you do anything like that, like Hometown, Bomb Bomb, Can, that kind of stuff. Thank you, sir. I sound different all of a sudden, huh?
So you do open houses,
Open,
listings.
yeah, open houses, listings.
What lead gen type of things do you use with other agents?
It really depends. Everybody is really, it's all about personality, right? Like when you shoot a property video, it's really not about the property. Somebody's going to walk in at some point, fall in love with it, and buy it. It's about you. You bring that video to your next listing appointment, and so on. So it's all about, you know, how you approach things. But yeah.
He's got a lot of like tips, right? You can sit down with Pascal and say, hey, I'm kind of thinking about this or that, and then he'll tell you what other agents in town have done. He's worked with hundreds of agents, right?
Yeah.
And you were a premier videographer for Zillow
Yep.
for a long
Wow.
time. That's how we got hooked up. Zillow sent him to me, and then we just formed a relationship over the years. So there's a lot of knowledge you can tap into. Don't be scared to call Pascal or set up a meeting here at the office with him.
Yep.
Thank you,
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate
No
it.
problem.
Sorry to take the floor from
That's
you
all
like
right.
that,
We'll
but
get
I'm
it back.
handing it back.
Thank you. All right, we have a lot of great information that we're bringing you today, again, to make sure you are the real estate expert when you are servicing your clients. And first, thank you, Annie Sawyer from Landmark, for providing breakfast today. One big clap for her. Multiple claps for her. Yeah, Andrew. Yeah. Annie's going to come up, and we're going to first show a video about wire fraud and a horror story that you guys all need to watch out for, and then she'll discuss it right after. So, cue video.
My whole life, at times, still kind of flashing in front of my eyes. That's everything I find.
Allison Buchanugan is not exaggerating. This week, she came within a click of losing $200,000. Money she'd saved for a house she's about to close on. So Allison had been in close contact with her title company and realtor.
I had strict instructions how to wire the money, and the very next morning, I had an email chain pop up that I thought was from the escrow officer with my realtor looped in, and neither person was real. They were both fake emails, and an entire fake conversation proceeded to happen throughout the day after that, with them requesting me to wire money, and that the wire instructions had changed.
The scammers behind the fake emails asked Allison to go to a different bank on a different day and transfer her $200,000 into a different account. Thinking nothing of it, she set out to meet their requests and almost lost everything.
And at the last minute, while I was at the bank, I called my escrow officer to confirm the wire instructions, which I was told to do. And when I called her to confirm, everything came crashing down, and everything that I thought was a conversation between us as a group was not real. It was a fake, and I almost wired $200,000 to the wrong person.
Allison reported the scam to police. Looking more carefully at the crooks' emails, she says the addresses they used were off by just one letter.
On first glance, it all looks the exact same. I think they're preying on this market and people feeling an urgency to act fast and to get things done quickly so that you don't lose your house, so that nothing happens.
According to the American Land Title Association, more than 11,600 people fell victim to real estate wire transfer fraud in 2019. That's $221 million stolen. To help protect yourself, they offer these tips.
Early in the process, identify trusted individuals prior to closing and write down their names and contact information. Confirm a second time the closing and payment instructions in person or verbally with a known phone number. Avoid using phone numbers or links in an email as scammers can spoof them. Be mindful of phone conversations as some criminals call and pose as your trusted professional. And do not email financial information.
I probably never would have caught it, and the only way that I did was when I called the lender outside of the bank. It's really scary, and I just want to tell people, just be careful. Look out for yourself.
Wow.
So yes, this is a real thing. It happens all the time. The scammers are just getting so smart with this. They take my exact form of the wiring instructions with my letterhead and everything, and they'll just change it to say like their bank account. So, at first glance, your customer's really not going to know. So I would just keep telling them, always make sure you call the title company. Never assume that what's being sent to you is correct by us, because it does happen from time to time. I've actually only had one successful attempt at wire fraud. The client was using a Gmail account, or the scammer was using a Gmail account. So any professional, it would just never come from Gmail, Yahoo, AOL. It would always come from my company email. Do you want anything to add?
Yes. One way you can help protect yourself, now it's not the end-all be-all, but it's one more measure of security. As a real estate professional, you should not be using a Gmail, Yahoo, AOL account. Spend the extra dollars, get a domain name. Again, it's not the end-all be-all, but it's one more step of security measure. Go to GoDaddy.com, cheapname.com, and I highly suggest getting that set up.
That's a really good idea. I wanted to add as well, just I don't like to send wiring instructions to you guys, to the agent, just because of that liability. There's really no reason for you guys to have that in your guys' inboxes just because of the firewall.
And I actually always set that expectation with my buyers and sellers. That first visit, I always tell them, no one from Resolution Realty will send you wiring instructions or information. Always, always, always pick up the phone and confirm with your escrow and title officer.
You really should disclose that to all of your buyers. You don't think it's going to happen until it happens to you, and I don't believe there's a foolproof plan of getting that money back if it happens, is
No,
there?
there's
I
not.
mean, it's just gone.
I mean, yeah, the one time that we had, she got 80% of it back, and that was unheard of. I had the CEO of that title company even saying he's never heard of that happening.
No kidding.
So it's just not worth it.
So if you disclose this to the clients, what would the buyer see on their end? There's always like secured this, secure that. They hate tapping on the button. They don't know how to open things up. They start to get frustrated, and then they're calling the agent like, is this accurate? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
So it's just an email from me, and it'll say like, hi Aaron, here's your wiring instructions attached for your property at, and I would list the property address. And then I would say in the email as well, make sure to always call my office to confirm the wiring instructions. And then the wiring instructions is always a PDF on company letterhead. It'll have like our bank information, the escrow information, and then at the bottom it's like a huge, can't miss it, big bold letters like always call to verify. It'd be smart just to advise your clients to go off of, if I've spoken with them in the transaction, like they said, the saved number, or if you just Google Landmark Title and use that number, just because these scammers can spoof the PDFs and put their phone number as well.
Right, so you disclosed it, they get the PDF.
Yes.
They're supposed to open that up, print it, contact your office, confirm this is the ABA, the routing number, etc., and the funds. Then they hang up, they can go wire out from there.
Correct. And wiring instructions on title companies never ever change. The only thing that ever changes is the escrow number, address, and the amount. But like the wiring instructions, routing, and account number never change.
Cool.
Good information. Any questions?
Yeah, we got one with Amy.
Yeah, I just want to add to it. You have multiple times during your transaction, you should be going over the possibilities of wire fraud. When you're taking the listing, when you're first sitting down with the buyer, you're having them sign that wire fraud instruction information. I make sure that they understand and be especially careful with your people who are less tech savvy, that they're going to be getting information through a secure portal, usually not just an email. And if they're local, I heavily encourage my people to go into the office and get those instructions literally in their hand to take that to their financial institution, then you have zero possibility of somebody trying to be an intermediary and steal those funds.
Yeah.
But make sure you're doing for your sellers. You know, they go over that with them too. Don't just assume, because they're going to be sending an awful lot of money from the buyers in this transaction to your seller. So don't do just for the buyers. Make sure you're covering your sellers as well.
That's great advice, and I think everybody knows there's the wire fraud disclosure in Remine and Transaction Desk you should be using on all your files. So I see a lot of heads going like, yes, Aaron, we definitely do that. So Mark's heart's not racing right now. Right, Mark?
Yeah, for seller's proceeds, I'll never take it over email. I think very rare cases we will, but of course we will call that trusted number to verify them with the seller as well. So we always like to get that stuff in person. And then same thing for your buyer signings. I prefer to have the wiring instructions with their loan doc signings, just so everything is person to person. I'm not sending stuff over emails. But you do get those cases where the buyer has to send funds early because their bank has a limit. So in those instances, we do send wiring instructions ahead of time.
Awesome.
Jeff?
I was just going to interject and say there's also occasionally you'll hear ads for something called home title lock. It's a complete sham because the state has to keep your property records public, and they can't lock your account as this company claims they're going to do. And these companies charge like $100 a month for this quote protection. But what your customers can do, and any property owner can do, is go to the state's website, look up your property address, validate yourself, and you can put in an alert so they can text you if the title chain has been altered or is in the process of being altered, so you can stop it if there is somebody attempting to go that route in trying to steal titles or anything like that. But
Look at that
you don't need
security
to-
tip. Nice work, Jeff.
you don't need to pay for this stuff.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I don't know how many of you guys have bought or sold homes, but if you buy a home and you move in, you get like 1,000 letters from
Yes.
all over the state asking you to give up your children, pretty much. It's
Buy your parcel number.
yeah,
tell 'em to
parcel
throw it away.
number, homesteads. Here's a quick question off the cuff, though. If I get like 15 homesteads in the mail, what should I do?
I throw them away.
Yep.
Do and why?
Yeah, just it's garbage.
Why
It's-
do we need a homestead, or why don't we?
Well, I can do a homestead for you
Mm-hmm.
for free. You do need a homestead. I would always recommend that. You can only have it on your primary residence. But you do get those spam mailers when you first move into a property saying to buy your parcel, which isn't even a thing, or to buy all these homesteads with all of these companies for hundreds of dollars. Just reach out to your title officer. They'll do it.
Got it, got it. And we had some more questions over here. Andrew.
Yeah, just super quick. How did the folks that got the 80% back, how did they get that back? Are you aware?
We had to contact, I mean, at this point, we had to do a higher power. There's nothing, us locally could do. So we had to get corporate involved, and they got their bank, I think it was Wells Fargo. They got corporate people at Wells Fargo involved, and I don't even know how they recovered it. That's wild. Yeah, it's exactly.
Once you click the button, it's typically
Gone, yeah.
Yep, exactly. Valerie, did you have something? Or
No? Oh, microphone over here, please.
Yep. There you go.
I was just going to say something like on the lending side. We get asked all the time for people for us to send wire instructions. I never, ever, even as the lender with a secured email, send wire instructions. Please have them always reach out to the title company, because I never want to be the one, God forbid it got intercepted or something like that. Always have them reach out to title, because they always think the money's coming to us. It's not coming to us. So I always make sure they reach out to title on that and never ever give that.
A few different ways these scammers can start attacking us.
Exactly.
Loan, escrow, title, you name it. Kevin Wool with First American Home
Yeah,
Warranty.
and I'll tag on to the home warranty side. We've made some shifts in our business recently. A realtor can no longer vouch for a homeowner. Like we used to, a realtor used to be able to get involved in the transaction with like placing a claim or working on a claim or the follow-up. We keep that all in-house now, and the homeowner is the only point of contact, and especially like with a credit card or anything like that. So all businesses are tightening up when it comes to corporate security, emails, all that stuff, and wire fraud for that matter.
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you, Kevin.
Well, thanks for that warning. Much appreciated. One big clap for Annie.
So Annie, Landmark, Meadows, please do your best. If you're thinking about opening escrow on and you're writing in on a contract, we send our business to our preferred vendors, our ancillaries. They help with this entire business, and it's just been outstanding customer service since you stepped in and
Yes.
took over.
Yes, you guys are so awesome.
Aw.
No, you are.
Wait, that might be the first time an escrow officer said, "I love the agents." Right? How many escrow officers you know are just like, "Oh, I can't stand agents and sellers and buyers." So we appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, First Guarantee Mortgage Company. Miss Jen Whitman is going to come up and talk about interest rates and how it could affect a mortgage payment and boot somebody out of the purchase.
So we asked Jen just to kind of compile this real quick snapshot. When you guys are on your phones prospecting and talking to buyers, interest rates were at 3.5. Now they're at 5.5. What's like a 8-second way to let a client know the difference in a mortgage payment? So with no further ado, Jennifer with FGMC, the stage is yours. Please give us some information.
The freaking great mortgage company. That's what it
Oh,
is.
that's cute.
FGMC. I had an agent say that to me last
I
week.
love that.
He's like, freaking great mortgage company. I said, yes, that's exactly. Anyways, I'm Jennifer. So at a $400,000 purchase price, all right, remember last year people, I'm going to wait, the crash, blah, 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 right? Well, last year at 3.5% interest rate at a $400,000 purchase price, their payment would be $2,332. Estimated taxes, insurance, stuff like that. Today, at 5.5%, their payment will be $2,783. $451 payment difference in 1 year. So that now prices out a lot of people because most people want to go to the max on their debt to income, right? $451 a month, that's a car payment. That's
Yes.
a big, huge payment. So now that is kind of where we are today. People's buying powers have gone down because of the interest rates. And now with purchase prices going up, a lot of people are being priced out. So
Yeah, and when your clients go into contract and open up escrow, they should be having the conversation with the lender on what it looks like to lock that interest rate. I was just showing a client a new build last night, and it's been completely built. I leaned over to my client and I said, this probably fell out of escrow. That's why it's here. That was the case, and we found out because their interest rate went up during escrow and that they couldn't afford it at that point, and they lost the house. So you want to have those conversations up front with your clients.
yeah, the first thing we say too, you know, we may quote, today you got pre-approved. I can quote you something this morning. By this afternoon, that rate can be different. So just because we have an interest rate on that pre-approval letter does not mean that's their interest rate, because I had that happen to me. A client, I pre-approved them at 4.5. Well, they went into contract 2 months later, they were at 5.5. Well, your payment just went up, but there's nothing we can do. It's just what the rate is at that time. Remember, we cannot lock an interest rate until we have a contract. Please keep that in mind. We cannot lock until we have a contract.
And just like interest rates were at 3.5%, they're not going to last forever at that interest rate. Now they're at 5.5%. And what have you guys have learned in the last year? The buying power. The difference in interest rates are reflected different on inventory and the market conditions. So you knew that then. Now interest rates went up. You guys aren't leaving real estate for any reason, right? So interest rates won't always remain at 5.5 either. We'll go the next 18 to 24 months up and down, up and down. And then when the interest rates go down again, which they will, there'll be a refinance boom. There will be a lot more people coming back to market to try and buy, and there will still be migration here. So low interest, high interest, back to low interest. You're going to watch those shifts over your career continue to happen, which will just make you a stronger agent. educated. When you're on the phones talking to your clients, they don't know if they should make a move today. They don't know if they should wait 2 years. They don't know if the market's going up or down. That's why we track all this information. And I can guarantee if you go to like 98% of the other offices in town and walked up to somebody over there and asked them what the market conditions look like, inventory, interest rates, they'd be like, well, I don't know, I just put a property under contract and it closed. Like, nobody pays attention to this stuff at that high of a level. That's why we keep bringing it to you week over week, because it's so fast and furious, and it really makes you a rock star agent. So just kind of pay attention to those numbers as we keep rolling them out to you. It's going to make you way better with every client you're working with.
And Jen, now that you're up here, I want to bring up, when I was showing that new build yesterday, the sales rep was there with us, and I asked, hey, what incentives does your lender have? And she had this spiel that what they're offering is this 3-2-1 situation. So the first year, they said, we'll lock you in at 3.5, and they're like, nobody's doing that right now. We'll get you for 3.5 the first year, the second year will be 4, and the third year will be 6, but don't worry, you can refi at that time. And when I left with my clients, and I think JD last week actually provided this insight, was you have to see on paper what that 3.5% means. Because I leaned over to my clients and I said, that's going to cost you a lot of money.
A lot of money.
They're like, but we'll give an $8,000 incentive. And I was like, they've already recouped that, probably plus more.
Right.
It doesn't mean you won't end up on top, but it is worth having a second conversation with one of our lenders to see what that's going to itemize out to.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want an agent in this room to tell me why the builder is doing that. Somebody knows. Why was the builder offering 3.5% interest rate when they're at 5.5% right now? Well, they'll make money, and they'll make it off the long run. You have the microphone, sir.
So they have total control of the whole situation.
That's always the reason. They want the loans, they want control. We do. We want the loans, we want the title, we want control. Will they make money? Yes. Will we make money? Yes. That's not the reason, though, they're doing it. Ernest.
I mean, right now they're struggling to sell their properties, so they're trying to do anything that they can get to attract more buyers with the low interest rate, given that the interest rates right now are higher.
Nailed it on the head. Inventory's up. Buyers are on the sidelines. They have what's called standing inventory, homes they can't sell. So all of a sudden, overnight, right, because I haven't heard this till today, these guys come in with quote-unquote creative financing.
3-2-1s.
3-2-1s.
Yeah.
Memorize that because you're going to see it a little bit more often now. I think a 3.5 interest rate right now, I know they're 5.5. Even one lender said 6. Holy cow, I can get 3.5. Sign me up.
Right.
Yes.
And I bet you a million agents out there are like, dude, that's a good deal. But if you look at the numbers, it's a crap deal.
Right.
And I would never sign up for it. Okay, so that's the learning moment here, guys.
Yep.
Watch out for that stuff, and look how crazy, greedy, manipulative, and all the bad terms I could say about builders. I don't like them, and I don't have to like them because they do stuff like that. And when the inventory was low, what was your commission?
Zero.
So here they go. I just think they're predators, but that's my 2 cents. You guys
Is that
do
how
your
you really
thing.
feel?
You'll microphone these guys up. Amy, what's up?
The other thing is then that buyer is going to go around to all their friends that are looking to buy and go, oh my God, I got such a great deal with this builder. Whether they've got a realtor or not, they're going to tell everybody to go straight to them. It's going to be huge marketing for these people because they're not educated on it.
Yeah, and to that point, I'm so thankful for our partners here because I think it was JD, you told us this last year or last week when we were talking about new construction on what it means when they're offering you those lower points and how they recoup that money, right? I was educated. I was very quickly able to tell my clients, hold on, this is what that probably means. Let's chat. Because most agents out there would be like, oh, that's great. I have other clients getting at 6. We can get you at 3.5 for the first year. Let's do it. No, you need to be educated.
Right.
The first year.
Yeah, one thing I just kind of see in that off the bat is that sounds like an entrapment condition, because you're going to get a customer is going to get so emotionally wrapped up in that, and they're going to realize that in 3 years, hey, you know what, my job's not doing so hot either. Now I can't afford to stay here. Does the title of the property have anything to do with reverting back to the builder if there's a default?
No.
It's going all back the bank's only
It'll get sold
entirely.
to the bank. The bank will foreclose.
Yeah.
What they're pitching is, hey, you're going to hit a 6% interest rate in 2 to 3 years from now. the rates will come down, why
You'll
don't you refinance? But what if rates didn't come down, or what if
Right.
something changes, or you needed to refinance earlier? Like, that's always looming. So when you're doing these like ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages, which is what it feels like, or bank stated loans that are on an 80, 10, 5, like there's all kinds of creative ways, but if you're not in a solid loan, it's always looming over you that I got to do something at some time, and most consumers, most buyers don't really know the path of what that looks like in the future. They're just focused on right now. It's your job to make sure they understand what's going to be trailing in based on the market and based on their payments.
I'm going to just say something real quick too. When you are at the builders, have us look at the loan estimates for you just to compare, because they charge a lot for the rate, and you guys, most consumers don't see that. They're only looking at an interest rate, and they don't realize that interest rate just cost them $10,000.
So that $8,000 incentive
That's
meant nothing.
exactly where it's going.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, David and I had the one with Jennifer, and you have to, they're giving you a $5,000 incentive that's going to the interest rate. So just be careful with that, and we'll look at that, and we're 100% honest. I will tell you, they're getting a great deal. Or, no, we can beat that. So make sure you have one of us look at those loan estimates. I don't mind looking for you guys at all.
And you don't have to feel obligated if I go and, hey, can you look at this pre-qual? Let me know what these numbers. Does it look good or bad? I may or may not give you the loan. It doesn't matter. But can you take 10 minutes to look
Absolutely.
at it? She's just going to feed you information.
Of course.
That's why we have preferred lenders
Yes.
over here. So don't feel obligated. And I think it's very important for you guys to understand. Tell the person who's at the new build, hey, thank you for all the information. I'm gonna have a consultation with my client. We're gonna look over the numbers and we're gonna get back to you. Never force, never sign. Take time. Take a deep breath, go through the numbers over the course of a couple days, and then figure out which loan and which lender you want to go with.
Yeah.
To that point, having our partners that we have, like FGMC, is what sets us apart, where we can offer a level of service that a lot of people in the Valley can't. So take advantage of that while you're here. And secondly, this all means know the numbers so you can provide protection to your clients, okay?
Yeah.
That's our fiduciary. That's what we're supposed to do. And these are great tools to do that. So one thing to set us apart.
Great advice, Buell. And use JD, Jen, and everybody at Freaking Great Mortgage.
That was great.
Make it happen.
Yes. Yeah, they
Do
do.
builders tack on fees? Absolutely.
Yes, they
and
do.
there's like 10 different ways they can do it.
Yeah.
So you got to like apples to apples and go through
Yeah.
those line items and spend a half hour dissecting a settlement statement or a pre-approval letter and the interest rates, yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada. Mr. JD with Freaking Great Mortgage.
Freaking
Yeah,
Great
I
Mortgage.
had a different first word, but
He did, and I couldn't use it, so.
sometimes when we're working with clients and we pre-qualify them, and then all of a sudden they go to a builder, and now the builder says, you have to use our lender, we're going to give you XYZ. I tell them, hey, go through the process, but now when they come back to you and they want to lock, maybe it's 8 weeks out, 6 weeks out, now they're talking about, okay, it's time to lock the rate. Get us that estimate, because that's where we'll find the surprises. Either the rate's going to be up higher, usually there's a point in there. I used to have builder accounts, and why do you think they have their preferred lenders? Because they're getting a piece of the action. So just, let us look at it. Like Jed said, we'll be honest. Hey, it's a good deal, man, go for it. Or, ask this, or, we can do this, or whatever.
All right, 10
Yep.
calls coming over to you guys
Exactly.
later this afternoon. All right, let's give one big clap to FGMC. Thank you so much.
Right,
Thank
that
you,
was
Jen.
a stellar conversation.
That was
Thanks,
freaking
Jen.
great conversation.
We're
Yes.
going to recoup some time right now and move a little quick. Kevin Wool, do you have anything to add to our stakeholders today?
Yes, Kevin
you,
Wool.
the one and only.
Well, I was talking to Mr. Buell this morning, and he reminded me, sometimes I get so caught up in, by the way, I'm Kevin, First American Home Warranty. I get so caught up in just warranty or real estate and the daily things that we do. And Buell just asked a simple question. He's like, hey, man, can you sit down with my team and just go through the rates? Like, what should they write in on the contract? Like, should it be 600? Should it be 500? Like, it's all over the place. I just don't know what to write in. I say if you're dealing with a single family home, just remember 585 for us. and that's a good number. So you could put 600 to pad it a little bit. 585 is going to get them the Eagle Premier plan. It's our best plan. If it's through a townhome or a condo or a mobile home, it drops down to 515. So if you just stick the number like 600 or 585 in your head and you put that for every single property you do, you're going to have enough money for our Eagle Premier plan. If it has a pool, add 200 to that. So that is my simple truth this morning. I don't want to take up a bunch of your time, but when you're writing up contracts, think about First American for home warranty. Remember around $600.
And then real quick, just does it matter what the square footage of the house is if in the event where it's thinking about the 600 number?
5,000 square feet and below, we are at that price point. Once it jumps over 5,000 square feet, please reach out to me. We have special pricing. There's actually special pricing between 5 and 6, and then after 6 it jumps up. But my thoughts on it are, if it's going to be over 6,000 square feet and this is a multi-million-dollar property, they got money to buy a new AC. Like, let's be real. The home warranty was designed for, the middle class, more or less, the people that are trying to make ends meet on a monthly basis, where they don't want that huge hit to their bottom line when the AC goes out or the water heater goes out. You got somebody in a $20 million home, go buy 5 today and have them installed at $20,000 each. They're fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. We got a question over here with Andrew real quick.
If we have a listing,
I got it covered. If we have a listing,
with existing seller's coverage, does the new buyer get a discount if they stay with First American?
There's no discount. It's just the listing side is the reason we do that. It's kind of like going fishing. If let's just say we do 10 sellers policies and 5 stay with us, we've already introduced the seller and the buyer together to catch the warranty. If 5 go away, then we just make them disappear. So there's no real discount or incentive to stay with First American other than that you get me and great service.
well, that and the pre-existing issues with the listing coverage, that is the benefit to the buyer, but no discount on like transferring that home warranty policy to the buyer.
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Aaron knows his stuff.
I've done it. I've done it a couple times.
It's actually a pleasure, and I'll just add this. It's actually a pleasure to sit back and listen to the wealth of knowledge that comes from your management team and your owner, because I'm telling you, and even though he says it like, oh, you'd go to another office, I see it. Like, it's absolutely true. You guys get so much information in such a small amount of time each week. You should be blessed.
Oh, thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
One big clap for Kevin.
We gotta try that again. 1, 2, 3. And you know why we do it? Just to keep blood flowing. You guys not falling asleep in front of all of our content. Yeah, it's pumping up the jam.
All right, accomplished home inspections, Greg and Brody Plapp. Do you want to talk about them just for a quick bit?
Yeah, Greg and Brody, amazing home inspection team. Information's on element form. They agreed to pay for a pay-per-click campaign to generate leads for the office. So I wanted to first and foremost thank you guys for sending your business there, because if we didn't, I couldn't get him to spend money on lead generation services for us. That'll trickle down to our agents. So again, thank you. All of his business information's up there. I hope you guys are having great service with him. In the event you're not, then I'm the go-to guy with all of our ancillary partners. And I know they've been doing a good job for a long time with us. So again, thank you for the your business and sending it that way.
Awesome. All right, and a quick highlight for a leaderboard in May from Sisu for buyers signed. We have Zach Dunmeyer. He signed 10 buyers in May. Omir 4, Ernest 3, Conrad 3, and Kate 2. One big clap for their efforts. That was just a really good highlight that we wanted to put out there.
That's awesome. Great job to the Sisu leaderboards.
And we got a great review from our very own Amy Meadle that just got posted on May 31st. Amy is by far the best person to deal with. She was more helpful since the first day of meeting with her than any other people I've met, including a family friend. She will go above and beyond to make sure your needs are met. Although we did not purchase a house yet, she helped us locate a house to rent. She walked us through every step of the process, which was a great help because I could see at certain points I would have been lost on my own. Thank you once again, Amy. We are looking forward to working with you again soon. Love it. And that's a good reminder. We don't always want to work with rental clients, but it is worth it because they will come back to you and they will appreciate those efforts when they're ready to buy. So,
and
good
don't
job.
forget, great job, Amy. Don't forget, you don't have to sell anybody a house. You don't have to list anybody's house. You don't even have to put them in a rental to get a great review online. They can just say, Mary's professional. She always picks up the phone. She's a great real estate agent. And that would be a review. So all of you guys should have 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 reviews online. All you got to do is walk up to your fellow mates here and say, do you mind putting a review online for me? And then your family. I can go to Ethan. Ethan, go drop me a Yelp review right now. He'll do it in 2 seconds, and then I respond to it, and my reviews just keep climbing and climbing. And reviews are important.
Yes.
I keep telling you guys in the team meetings, and I don't see them enough when it's something so easy to do, and you will get business from it. There's 21,000 real estate agents in Vegas. If you don't have reviews, you drop to the bottom. Period, guys. Just want you to know how important it is to me.
Love it. All right, Atomic Habits Book Club was postponed last Wednesday to tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Correct, Kira? All right, so you can meet Kira, Zach Hammer. They will be leading it in the training room tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So thank you for that. All right, quick pro tip. Who here has been using Remind? All right, here who loves Remind? I do. Great. So if you're not aware, Transaction Desk is on its way out. They implemented a new dashboard called Remind. If you go to lvr.com, you can see that there's, oh, yep, there you go. There's a ton of training videos for you to watch, along with live Zoom classes that you can sign up for. So if you're not familiar with the dashboard yet, I recommend you first go to lvr.com. I also cut a video, it's in Element, that goes over a brief overview to get you started. But there's a lot of details. For instance, in a Remind, Aaron could be my client. We're sitting down on just my Apple laptop. I can switch it over to his user, and he can actually sign side by side with me without having to email it to him, for example. So there's a lot of great features. Yes?
One great thing about Remind too is when you set up your templates, which they call packages, it automatically updates to the newest form.
Yes.
When LBR comes out with a new form. So for us that had Transaction Desk and had all of our templates set, and it was like, one of these is expired. Which one? No. Remind does that for you
Which
and
one?
tells you which
It's
one
so
to replace.
true. It's
So
so
that's
true.
a big one,
And
just to make
don't
sure you're in
forget-
compliance. And he doesn't have a heart attack.
And don't forget, Transaction Desk will eventually go bye-bye, and then you're not focused on Remind, you weren't proactive to look through the videos and the tutorials, and then all of a sudden, you got to get a contract or something going, and you're going to start losing your mind because you have to do it on a rush because every time a deal's going down, the entire place is on fire. So I know how it works. It's like CE, guys. Go spend some CE, some continuing education on Remind. Go through those videos we were just showcasing and get Remind set up before Transaction Desk goes away. Amy.
September 12th, you will lose all data from Transaction Desk. If you want your contacts, your clients, get those exported. The details are on those classes, those Zooms that she was talking about. But you want your contacts, if you want any of those old documents, any of that information, get it copied over. There are classes on transferring those docs over. If you want to do that, you can go to the lab class. They've got the live classes besides the Zoom classes. Those are going to be really key to get taken care of. And then also one of the huge differences between Transaction Desk and Remind is going to be the fact that they are smart forms, and it's really freaking awesome because the SRPD can be sent or they can fill it out online now. And then you're also going to have things where you can send your signed documents to the other agent. So if I'm representing the buyer, I send that through Remind to the listing agent, and you've got all of that history. You can't have someone say, oh, I didn't get the email or it went into my spam. It's in their Remind, and it's part of our document history and our compliance history. There's a lot of really awesome features that are in the new Remind.
Thanks, Amy. All right, some Resolution Realty updates. We added some Facebook training videos on Element on how to create a Facebook. Allison actually created those videos and dropped them in Element.
They're created, I'm putting them in Element this week, and then I'll send out an announcement. So anybody want to run their own targeted Facebook ads, I A/B tested it. I spent $2,000. We figured out exactly what the best lead source was on Facebook, and we have the whole campaign built out so you can do it on your own, and it should be easy to do. And let me know if you have any questions.
CC Roadmaps.
CC Roadmaps.
Don't know
So
why I
the
said it like
client,
that.
we're doing a client-facing app. So Ryan and I are in the midst of building it out. Should be done in the next week or two. Your client is going to have, and I'll show it next week, it's going to be your beautiful face with all your information like a landing page. It's going to show the status of everything going on with your file. All the client's documents are going to be held in there. All the communication with your client will be held in there. And then when it closes, they'll always be able to go back to the CSU map and look for their documents and anything that you've created for them. So the consumer is going to see everything going on with the file, and it's going to be an amazing tool for you guys to use. We're extremely tight on time.
Yep.
I've found out just recently.
Yes.
Okay,
We're gonna
so we're
move
going to keep
fast.
cruising. I'm going to bring the roadmaps up next week and show you a couple slides on that.
All right, so Andrew and I are going to give you a quick insight on a national level of what's going on in the market. And I will let you start off with
Very
that.
fast.
And that'll have to be very fast
Very
because I'm
fast.
going to do local, and then we got some bell ringers for today, so let's keep going.
All right, so the first thing we see here from professionals in the industry, mortgage rates are likely to plateau near current levels. The financial markets have attempted to price in the impact of Fed actions like raising, lowering interest rates over the cycle, and they're likely also pricing in the economic slowdown that will result from those actions. Once we are past this rate spike and associated volatility, MBA expects that potential homebuyers may be more willing to re-enter the market. And that comes from Mike, I don't even know how to say his last name, but he's a chief economist with MBA. So these are what the experts are saying right here.
And this is probably going in the late fourth quarter of this year.
Absolutely.
And on the next slide, you can clearly see that we are moving horizontally. We're going back to the previous slide saying that we're going to continue to see this plateau. So even though interest rates may edge up just a bit, it's not extreme for the rest of the year. Do you agree? Okay. All right, so there you go.
And I love these quotes. All right, again, from Realtor.com. Experts don't believe the market is in a bubble. We've talked about this many, many, many times. Or that a crash is in the cards, like during the Great Recession. The nation is still suffering from a housing shortage that has reached crisis proportions at a time when many millennials are reaching the age when they start to consider home ownership. And that's what's likely to keep prices high right now.
Yep, so the millennials are the largest group right behind the baby boomers. So as they're starting to come into the market, that's just another reason how the demand is going to remain very high. You can see on the next slide, we're coming closer to where we were on pre-pandemic sales. The market is moderating, and we're seeing that very clearly here. But you got to remember, the last 2 years, this is what we've wanted, right? This is what we've been hoping for, to give all you guys a fresh breath air to get your clients under contract.
Absolutely.
All right, the housing market is at a turning point. We're starting to see signs of a new direction, but the ball is still in sellers' courts in most housing markets. Still very clear, right? It's still a hot seller's market.
Yeah, we're seeing that here for sure.
And we keep hearing the word recession, so we want to give you a clear definition on what is a recession.
This is from the National Bureau of Economic Research, and their definition is a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy, lasting more than a few months. Normally visible in real GDP, real income, employment, industrial production, and wholesale retail sales. Whew, it's a mouthful.
And the next slide is a slide that we've continuously showed you, but I want to show you once again, because a recession does not mean a housing crash. It obviously did in 2008, and that's what everyone remembers. But when we're looking at historical figures and numbers, that's not the case. So I just wanted to show that again.
Caused by the housing market? Not so much. but definitely the cause.
Yep, and we'll leave you with this. If you're looking to buy a home, I would still recommend you do so even at the higher interest rates, because we have no reason to believe the home prices will stop appreciating. Home values going up is only a problem when you're trying to buy. When you own, it's a gift, and that's coming from mortgage expert Shivani Peterson.
Oh, great job. All right, one big clap for Andrew. Go.
Woo! All right.
I hope you guys feel smarter, because I do after it. So let's look at some local market conditions on the fly. So let's talk about total month supply. We were at about 0.6 about a couple months ago. We're at 1.4 month supply. An equal market is 6 months, guys. So we're still far from a buyer's market or just a stable market at that point. So quick hitting, I know that's great information for you. Now, if we're looking at new listings, they are at an all-time high. Over 1,400 new units are hitting the market every week right now, and it's just on the climb. I've seen nothing in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Look, it's just starting to skyrocket back up. Our highest back in September of last year was 1,400 units. We're well over 1,430 and climbing there. In the next slide, we're looking at total inventory. We were at about 2,500 homes on the market back in March. We are at 4,500 properties on the MLS right now. So we will be at 5,000 homes very soon, and we will be climbing into that 6,000 marker just soon after that. I'm not sure if we're going to lay up around 6,000 or 7,000 homes by the end of this year, but if we stay at this pace, we certainly will be, which means offers will be accepted a whole lot easier. You can start asking sellers to pay your buyer's closing costs. You can ask for home warranties to be paid for. When the request for repairs comes back, you can ask for credits. You can ask for things to be repaired. This is all good information or a good situation if you are a buyer writing offers going into this market. With that amount of listings hitting the MLS, it's a time to pick up more listings because there's more sellers out there than ever. The next slide is sold, under contract, and cancellations. So looking at this slide right here, the back on market cancellations have been 220 and stable for as long as we can go back. The sold units went from 1,000 down to 800. So we're seeing a dip in sold units, and the properties going under contract are starting to decline. This is because of the interest rates hikes. At 5.5%, people are slowing down the buying. They have less purchasing power like we were describing before. That's why the inventory is increasing. Lower buyer demand and a lot more people listing their homes. The next slide is going to show you the total price reductions. Is that the highest point you guys have ever seen?
In the last 2 years.
In 2 to 3, I don't even remember the last time I've even seen it this high. Wow. We were averaging 160 price reductions week over week. We hit an all-time high of 637 just a few weeks ago. It just hit 768 price reductions in 1 week.
Wow. So Aaron, real quick, does that mean sellers can't be greedy anymore, and if they still price right, it's going to go?
Pardon my French, I think sellers are shitting their pants on what they're reading on the internet in the articles coming out, that there's obviously a decline in values, and they're scurrying to sell their house as quick as humanly possible, knowing that the inventory is going up, the buyers are on the sidelines, and values will start depreciating. How far will they depreciate? I think over 50% of the 768 price reductions were overpriced in the get-go. Not a big deal. Get back to reality, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, right? And then the other half of those guys are struggling to sell their units because they're probably not in great condition. So if you're priced right, you look good, you're going to sell. If not, you're going to sit on the market. And if you look at the days on market for those 768 homes, I can guarantee they're all 30, 60, 90 days plus, and those people are worried about what direction the market's going. Keep that in mind for all of your calls when you're talking to your clients. We're going to jump into 275 and below. You cannot find a house in Vegas, period.
Next slide.
Next slide. Hey, and look, guys, we saw that trend line really high, then it went down. What happens if the market depreciates? You might see homes coming back into that price range, so we're always going to track it. 275 to 500. Slight incline, 1,200 units hit the market opposed to 600, so inventory doubled in that price range. 500 to 1 million, saw an all-time high, 1,730 units hit the market. Look at that swing, it's going right up. So 500 to 1 million is really feeling it right now. That's where the inventory is. That's where you're going to see some stability in price reductions. And then 1 million and up is climbing. We're at 621 units versus 400 units, so that's also climbing up too. So that's the state of the union with the market conditions right now. Keep all this stuff in mind. How are we doing on time, guys?
Good, we just got a couple minutes. So new listings, we won't go over all of them, but we will put this on Facebook this afternoon. As you can see, we got a healthy number of new listings that just hit Resolution Realty. This week, ERS Dialogue tomorrow. They're talking past client referrals with Logan Boyce at 9:15, Book Club at 2. Thursday, I'm teaching Buyer Boot Camp at 11, and Aaron is teaching another leads class at 1 o'clock. So please join us for those. And we are ready for shout outs.
Shout out, shout out. Hey, Chris,
Shout out, no free shout out.
Why don't you come on up here? So guys, I want to give a shout out real quick to Christian. 2 new listings.
Ayo.
2, you can clap, big round.
My man.
1 is, there it is. So Christian put up those listings. 1 was from the pond. I'm making his prospecting calls. And another was his SOI that he was making prospecting calls in his KV Core database and following up. He's looking at a combined $17,000 of gross commission income.
Beer on Christian, let's go.
Nice job.
For me, I got the bruiser of Birmingham, the only guy in the office that looks more like Ed Sheeran than me. Congratulations, Peter Benedicto, for putting a buyer under contract from the Zillow Flex program, $10,000 in GCI. He's at home on the Zoom. Good job, buddy.
Good job, Peter.
And I got to call out my boy Zach Dunmeyer for the month of May. Crushed metrics on the achievement team. He had 3 closings. He put 3 more under contract for 1.2 mil in volume, 290 conversations, 6 appointments met. Holy crud, let's go, Zach.
And I want to highlight one of our Flex agents, Michael Rivera. He started with us just about a month ago, got an escrow the second day he was with us, has been working tirelessly to get this thing closed. There's been a lot of obstacles and challenges, and as a new agent with his first escrow, he is absolutely killing it, and I admire his patience with both sides of the party here. So good job, Michael. Keep it up.
All right, a round of applause for all you guys, and have a great week. Thank you so much.
Bringing the energy today, son. Did you have your hype man here or what?
Got my hype man. Keeps me on track. I got another one.